Whenever you're ready, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, I'm ready. Welcome everyone to December 8th, Village of Ruidoso regular council meeting. If you could bear with me, we're still doing all this remote, but I'd like to ask Mayor Pro Tem Rafael Salas if he'll give us an invocation. And then if Rafael, you'll lead us in the pledge, I would appreciate it. So I ask everybody to join in for our pledge, and we'll move forward after the invocation.
Sure thing, Mayor. Let's stand and take a moment of silence. And in that moment of silence, let's have our thoughts for those that have passed this year. Almighty God, our gracious Lord, we come to you this day with thanksgiving, for this is a season to recognize you and your beloved Son. And we thank you, Lord, for your instruction, your guidance, your wisdom and understanding, and for the forgiveness of sins. Thank you, Lord, for each council member here and attending by Zoom and all staff. Also, we pray for our first-time responders, our police, fire, and emergency workers. Keep them protected and safe at this time of year, as well as all staff and everyone working. Father, we ask for your wisdom over this meeting. Let us make sound decisions and listen to all the truth. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, the Zia symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures.
Okay, thank you very much, Rafael. I appreciate everybody doing that. And as everyone can see, I'm still in self-quarantine after going out of the state to get to see my brand new granddaughter come into this world. It was awesome being in Texas where people act normal. Everyone wears a mask. Business is doing great. So it's a little bit, it was kind of like I imagine the Germans coming, back from West Germany, going back to East Germany. I get a little bit of the feeling of that. I imagine, I'm not trying to out of it, but it's nice being in Texas. Also, I want to appreciate everybody that's on today. We've got a meeting that we've got some great information, some good things that I think are coming for Ruidoso. And I see a new name on there that on the screen that y'all will soon get to know. He's our new deputy chief. So in a little bit, Ray, be sure and put your face on there. There he is. That's our new guy right there.
All right.
He's in town. I think you're in quarantine, aren't you?
Yes, sir. I'm in quarantine also, doing my 14
Okay.
day. I arrived Saturday night, and I'm working out of my room here in Ruidoso.
Well, we're looking forward to you getting to know everybody. So rather than to lead this meeting remotely, I thought it would be better to have our Mayor Pro Tem get to exercise duty legs. And so I'm going to turn over from this point on to Mayor Pro Tem Rafael Salas. Rafael, take it away.
Thank you, Mayor, and it's a privilege. And I do like that your seat goes down low. Madam Clerk, could we have a roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Mayor Crawford,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Salas,
Here.
Councilor Coughlin,
Here.
Councilor Letterman,
Here.
Councilor Jackson,
Here.
Councilor Cornelius,
Here.
Councilor Eby.
Here.
Thank you. And I'm supposed to give a report of where everybody's attending this meeting by. So here in the council chambers with myself is Councilor Coughlin and Councilor Letterman, Mrs. Devine, Irma Devine, Village Clerk, and our IT support, Jeffrey Ferguson. And in person at the Village Manager's office, we have Deputy Manager Ron Senna. And then in the Capital Projects Office, we have Councilor Jackson. Now, attending by Zoom is, of course, you recognize Mayor Crawford. We also have Councilor Cornelius, Councilor Evie, Manager Tim Dodge, our attorney Zach Cook, Deputy Clerk Bertha de los Santos, and Capital Projects Coordinator Courtney Bennett, and of course all our department directors and everybody else that's tuning in, hopefully by YouTube. With that said, I'll ask for a motion to approve the agenda.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I move to approve the agenda with the amendment to postpone the following agenda items to the January 12th, 2021 regular council meeting. Public hearing number 1, ordinance 2020-10, an ordinance amending the Village of Ruidoso Municipal Code of Ordinances, Chapter 42, Fire Prevention and Protection, Article 3, Standards for Fire Safety and Fire Handling, Section 42-42, Open Fire and Fire Restrictions. Public hearing number 2, ordinance 2020-11, an ordinance amending the Village of Ruidoso Municipal Code of Ordinances, Chapter 86, Utilities, Article 2, Water, Section 86-33, Drilling of domestic water wells within 300 feet of municipal water distribution lines prohibited, and Appendix A fees, fines, and penalties. Public hearing number 3, ordinance 2020-12, an ordinance amending the Village of Ruidoso Municipal Code of Ordinances, Chapter 54, Land Use, for case number SP 2020-0749, Commercial Planned Unit Development Zoning Designation with Site Plan and Concept Approval, James Townsend, Track 1A, Ruidoso, Lincoln County, New Mexico. Jesse Townsend, applicant, and amendments to the zoning map of the Village of Ruidoso to reflect said zone designation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to postpone these items. May I have a roll call? Madam Clerk.
Yes, sir. Councilor Letterman,
Aye.
Councilor Coughlin,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Salas,
Aye.
Councilor Evie,
Aye.
Councilor Cornelius, Councilor Cornelius,
Unmute, John.
Aye.
There it goes.
Councilor Jackson.
Aye. Thank you very much. Moving on to consent regular items, and I'll read them as on the agenda. Item number 1 is approval of governing body minutes, November 10th, 2020, regular meeting. Item 2, ratification of acceptance of project for RFQ 2020-001Q with Roper Construction Inc. for Main Road number 1 Bridge additional projects. Number 3, ratification of grant agreement between the New Mexico Department of Transportation, Traffic Safety Division, and the Village of Ruidoso for ENDUI, project number 01A164084 in the amount of $9,703. The BKLUP project number 010PRF084 in the amount of $4,447, and the STEP project number 01PTRF084 in the amount of $8,895. Number 4, approval of first renewal agreement with Armstrong Consultants, Inc. for professional engineering service for on-call services at the Sierra Blanca Regional Airport. Number 5, Approval of second renewal agreement with Riverbend Engineering LLC for professional engineering services for watershed projects, RFP 2019-004P. And number 6, approval of state grants in aid public libraries agreement with the New Mexico State Library for first half of fiscal year 2021 in the amount of $4,072.33. I'll entertain a motion for that.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I move to accept the consent agenda items as presented.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Could I have a roll call, Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir. Counselor Cochran,
Aye.
Counselor Letterman,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Salas,
Aye.
Counselor Eby,
Aye.
Counselor Jackson,
Aye.
Counselor Cornelius.
Aye.
Thank you very much, everyone. And moving on, we're going to move to the mayoral reports and presentations. And when talking to the mayor, I told him it'll be a very good pleasure of mine and a privilege to award our village clerk, Mrs. Irma Devine, a plaque of recognition for 25 years, and I'm going to say plus, of her service, as she is retiring on December 31st of this year. Irma, you are wonderful, and I'm going to stand and applaud you right now. We have a plaque for you right here. And it truly is a privilege, because I've known Irma since she's been working for the village, and worked with her some more. Oh, let me read what it says. And it's awesome that I've seen her work start at the convention center. You did excellent work there, then came under the wing of Tammy Maddox, the then village clerk, and then proceeded up to be our village clerk. And what an honor, Irma. And the village is very appreciative of all your service here and all that you've done, and the whole community as well. So I know we've done a lot here. Right here it says on the plaque, Distinguished Service Award, presented to Irma Devine, November 3rd. Oh, her work years were November 3rd, 1995 to December 31st of 2020. In appreciation for your years of hard work and dedicated service to the community and the village of Ruidoso. Enjoy your retirement.
Yay.
And Irma, thank you again. I don't know if you want to shake hands, but I'd love to give you a hug.
Irma, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. We
Thank you for
appreciate
everything.
everything you've done.
Who am I gonna tease anymore?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Irma. And if any of the other counselors would like to say a word or two, and it's open up to you guys. If they heard me.
I want to say congratulations there, Irma. You've done a great job for the village, and you've been steadfast and dedicated, and always showed up for work. So I remember the first time I met you is when I came in to pick up a packet to run for council, and so that I still remember that meeting, and just gotten to know you better since then. Found out that you were related to the El Toresos, where I frequented quite a bit, and every time I have a brother-in-law special there, I'll remember you all. But congratulations on your retirement, and we hope and we just wish you a prosperous whatever your endeavors are in the future. Tell John that we'll miss you both.
Thank you very much, Joe.
Thank you for everything you've done for the village over the years. I hope Joe doesn't hold you giving him a packet against you for very long. But I hope you and John enjoy your agreement or retirement, and come back to visit occasionally.
Thank you, Irma. You've done a great job. You've been a huge asset, and it's nice to hear your story, how you started with the village and you grew into the clerk position and took that over, and we're so proud of you and everything. I still think you've lost your ever-loving mind moving to Green Bay. I mean, and the world will want to leave this paradise. So I know you're a great guy. We expect good things from you. We hope that you continue to enjoy your life and really enjoy that retirement. You've worked hard for it. So it's good to have you and good to, I mean, we hate to see you go, but I understand why and everything. So we just wish the best for you.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate that.
Irma, you made the transition from me into this position a whole lot easier, and it was well appreciated. Every time I've had a question, it's either you or Ron that I go to get an answer, and you always have one. It's always legitimate, it's well thought out, and it comes with a wealth of history to the organization. And that's something that will be very, very difficult to replace, and you will be deeply missed.
Thank you so much, Councilor Jackson.
Thank you, Mayor and councilors. And at this time, I'd like to open it up to the administrative staff if they would have a word or two to say to Irma.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes, sir.
Irma, thanks. I appreciate the camaraderie over the last, 2.5 years. I just appreciate you. And please remember me when you're up in Wisconsin and going by the Harley factory. Stop and get some discounted memorabilia. But thank you, Irma. Thanks for all you do. Thank you for your service to this community.
Thank you, Tim. I appreciate that. And yes, I've been to the Harley Davidson place. It's pretty awesome.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes.
This is Ron. I wanted to say, also want to congratulate Irma. Thank Irma. We've worked together for quite a few years now, and I will not miss the Packers jerseys on Fridays or Mondays. But again, thank you, Irma, for your dedication to the village, and hope you have a great, enjoyable retirement in Wisconsin.
Thank you, Ron. I appreciate you.
Okay.
If I may just say a word.
Yes, yes.
Pro Tem, I would like to thank the governing body. You guys are a wonderful group of people.
Thank you, Irma. We're going to miss you deeply.
Just remember, every day is a Saturday.
It's a Saturday, yeah.
It's such a bittersweet. 3 years ago, I was in your position. The very last day of the year was my last day. And, you plan for it, and it's excitement, and yet you're leaving a family. And that was very bittersweet. And so looking at your face brings back a lot of memories. But thank you very much.
Thank you. And I would just like to add that it's been a great honor to represent the village of Ruidoso and to work with this community. It's a wonderful community.
Great.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you again, Irma.
Excuse me, Rifle, could I say something?
Sure.
I would just like to say to Irma, thank you for being a great coworker and a mentor and a friend, and just for everything. We've been together for 19 years, and I just wanted to say I appreciate you, and I'm going to miss you.
Thank you, Bertha. I appreciate that.
Awesome. I mean, I feel bad because we're not throwing you a party here and having cake and brisket and everything else. That's still needs to be in order. Maybe we'll do it this time next year and have you come back. Or I know you'll come back because it'll be so frigid cold up there. You'll say, I'm getting out of here. So next on our agenda is the introduction of new Village of Ruidoso employees and the promotions. And what we elected to do this morning, or for this afternoon, was that we'll introduce the new employees and they're going to join us by Zoom. And that way, at least we could get their picture of their face on there. First, I have on there, if they're available, I forgot to mention that. First I have on our list is Richard Butler. He's with the wastewater maintenance worker, and his date of hire was November 23rd of this year. Ron, is Richard around? Or Cheryl?
Rifle, this is Adam. He is not around. He's one of the ones that didn't have a tablet with him.
Okay, no problem. But we welcome him and hope that he will stay here many years. Next on the list is Aaron Worley. He's with the wastewater utility warehouse worker, and he was hired the same day as Richard on November 23rd, 2020. Is he around, Adam?
Mayor Pro Tem, no, he's not around. He's also another one without a tablet. They're out in the field.
Okay, no problem. I'm glad they're out in the field and getting those small leaks on my old neighborhood fixed. The next is Kelsey Smith. She's our short-term rental administration assistant, community development, hired December 1st, 2020.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Kelsey.
So
Nice to meet you.
tell us about you, Kelsey. Where did you come from? And
Oh, that one's a long one. Born and raised Alaskan, moved to California, moved to Arizona, and decided to make my stop here.
all right, that's good. Well, we welcome you and hope you enjoy. Very similar. Where in Arizona did you live?
At Tucson, but kind of out in Picture Rock, so on the outskirts.
Okay, that's beautiful country out there.
It is.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Next, we have Jacqueline Abeda is our Community Development Administration Assistant 2, hired December 1st, 2020. Jacqueline, are you on board?
Hello.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
We could see you and hear you. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Jacqueline.
Let's see. I come from Aslado Pueblo, which is a little pueblo south of Albuquerque. I'm excited to be here. I love visiting Rio Doso, so we just decided to move out here. And I'm pretty excited to be a part of the team.
Great.
Welcome.
That's wonderful. We welcome you and hope you enjoy. Next on my list is Marissa Olvera, who I know since, maybe when she was 1 year old.
Yes, hi there.
You need to tell me some stories. I don't know her quite that long, but I know her.
How are you, Marissa?
I'm doing good. Thank you for this opportunity, and I'm excited to continue and get started now with everything.
Great, and we welcome you here.
Thank you.
Yeah, Gina's daughter. So
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations getting this job. I know that it was a little bit of a delay in actually getting started, since you were one of the ones that was supposed to be joining us back in March when everything went into a handbasket, and then patience, and now you're here, and now you've got you're going to be a great addition over there to the library.
Thank you very much.
You know, I really like this opportunity to get to see people, because we get to see what their eyes look like. Everybody wearing masks. It's kind of funny. We'll never recognize them once this is all over.
that's right.
Welcome, Marissa.
And next on the list is our new Deputy Police Chief, Mr. Ray Lacey, and I was very honored and privileged to be on the interviewing committee, and was very impressed. All the candidates were very impressive, but I had to lean really strong towards Mr. Lacey here. He started work on 12/7/2020, but as you see, he's in Ruidoso now and working out of his house, which we appreciate you doing the 14-day quarantine.
Yes, sir.
But tell us about yourself there, Mr. Lacey.
Hi, good afternoon, Mayor Pro Tem, and councilors.
My name is Ray Lacey. I'm a 38-year career law enforcement veteran out of Texas, where I've worked everywhere from being a patrolman to a chief of police of a municipal city. And I recently retired from that, and I'm looking really forward to working both with the village team and with Chief Hooker's team. I've visited and traveled up here many times over my life, and have loved this area. And it's a fantastic opportunity for me to work with Chief Hooker and his team there at the police department and with the village. And so I feel privileged, and I thank y'all. And I look forward to meeting all of y'all in person once all of this goes down. But I'm in quarantine, and I'm staying here in the village at one of the facilities that I've made an agreement to stay in long term until I get my housing set up. So I'm working from here. I'm teleporting in and working from my desktop here.
Great.
Welcome to Ruidoso.
Hi, thank you.
And that's for our new employees. So now for our promotions, we have Stephanie Warren, who is now a staff accountant 1, and that promotion took place on November 23rd, 2020. Stephanie, we all know you and we thank you, and I want to hear more about you. So please take a few moments and share some more info on you.
Well, thank you guys. I'm excited for this new part of my journey here with the village. I've been with you guys since the December 26th of 2018 with your short-term rentals. I've had the pleasure of training both Jacqueline and Kelsey and getting them started. And I really look forward to moving forward in the village with Judy and the rest of the finance team. It's definitely exciting. I've lived here for 24 years, and that number just seems to be growing. So thank you guys for all the opportunities.
Congratulations.
Congratulations on the promotion.
Yes, and we're glad you're here. As I started out with the retirement of Mrs. Devine over here, we have one other person that's a dear friend of mine and known for many years, and that is Nancy Smith. She is our records clerk, police department personnel, and she's been here. Her date of service has been from May 3rd, 1999 to December 31st, 2020. Nancy, are you on?
Yeah, there she is.
I am.
Great, Nancy. I still apologize of standing you up on our date at the cemetery that one day. I'm so sorry. But the joke about that is that, yeah, Nancy was, of course, long-term planning, which that won't be used for many, probably about another 4 decades. But looking for a cemetery plot, and I told her, they're going fast, so you've got to come. So we set up a date to meet out there, or a time, and I stood her up. I'm so sorry, Nancy. But we did get that settled, though, I believe. So, Nancy, I would like to read what it says on your plaque here. Distinguished Service Award presented to Nancy Smith, May 3rd, 1999 to December 31st, 2020, in appreciation of your years of hard work and dedicated service to the community and the village of Ruidoso. Enjoy your retirement.
Yay,
Thank you, Nancy, so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Would you like to say any words there, Nancy?
Oh, gosh, I don't know what to say. When Chief Maddox hired me, he asked if I would give him 7 years. And I said, well, sure, I'm not going anywhere. I'll stay 7 years. And here I am, 21 and a half years, in the same place, at the same desk. It's been enjoyable. I have loved working for the village and the people that I work with here at the police department. It's hard to leave, but it's time. So anyway, thank you all.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Nancy. We really appreciate all you've done, and I know I've gone there many times to get fingerprints. Not because I was arrested, but you're doing some fingerprint on background checks when I volunteered at the school and other
I
things.
think I fingerprinted almost half the village or more.
I believe that. I believe that. So really enjoy your retirement, and as Councilor Lutterman told Irma that every day's a Saturday, you're absolutely going to enjoy it. So
Thank
You're
you.
gonna love it.
okay, with that being said, our third presentation will be from Bohannon and Houston on the US 70, New Mexico 48 roundabout feasibility and location study. And I'm going to turn that over to Ron to introduce Bert Thomas and Alvin Dominguez.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Salas, Mayor Crawford, members of the council. Just wanted to give a really brief history on this. Back in 2018, the village was successful in a grant, receiving grant dollars of $250,000 to conduct a feasibility and a location study of the US Highway 70, New Mexico 48 intersection. At that time, we had a RFP that we had awarded to Bohannon Houston, and we have worked closely with Albert Thomas and Alvin Dominguez. Alvin Dominguez is here with us today. Alvin is the former New Mexico Department of Transportation Cabinet Secretary under the Martinez administration, and Alvin has just been a wealth of knowledge for the village. And now I will turn this over to Alvin. Thank you, Alvin.
Thank you, Ron. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes. So far, yes.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and village councilors. As Ron mentioned, my name is Alvin Dominguez. I'm a senior project manager with Bohannon Houston. Albert Thomas will not be able to make it with us today. He had some other pressing issues he had to attend to. But what I want to do is give an update of where we're at with the study. As Ron had mentioned, we've been working on the study now about 8 months, off and on. With the COVID, it's been extremely difficult to get some of the information collected, but we've managed to do so, and we think we've done a good job collecting what we could. We gave a presentation. It's been almost 2 months ago where we showed the different alternatives for the US 70 New Mexico 48 intersection itself. We had looked at, I believe it was 4 different roundabouts configurations to see how those would work to try to make the traffic flow better through there, along with the no build scenario, which means leave the intersection exactly the same as it was. And also another one, what we call a high T intersection, which we would reconfigure the intersection to make it come in more at a 90, and the traffic that flows on US 70 westbound to eastbound going towards Ruidoso Downs would be free flowing and not have to stop at the signal. And at that time, we gave that recommendation for that intersection for the high T intersection. So that hasn't changed on the update for our study. What I wanted to concentrate more on today was the corridor itself. The village also asked us to look at beyond the intersection of US 70 and New Mexico 48 was the traffic congestion that exists from around even before Sutton Drive all the way up to Mescalero Trail. So that's what I want to do is kind of give an update of where we're at. When we gave the presentation a few months ago, we had quite a few different alternatives. The village did ask us to go back and look at a 4-lane section on that corridor. And let me see if I can share my screen. And I apologize because I've been having, of course, computer issues all day. We're having to work from home these days, so
yeah,
having to work from my laptop, and it's been hit and miss. But I wanted to show you the 2 alternatives, and I believe we provided a copy for all the village councilors about a week ago, and if for some reason I can't get it up, can't get the 2 different alternatives up there on page 57 and 58 if you have them available. It's alternative 5 and 5B, but I'll do my best I can here to share my screen because I wanted to go over those 2 scenarios with you.
What page that be on Mr. Dominguez?
It was page 57 for alternate 5 and 50, for alternate 5, yeah, page 57 and 5B for page 58.
Okay,
Page 63 of the PDF.
okay, that's where I was always scan down some more.
Yeah.
Give us a minute there, Mr. Dominguez.
Okay, and I'll keep trying here. I apologize. This technology with this COVID has been quite challenging.
63.
63.
Alvin, a few minutes ago, you were able, it came up, so you might just try during some of the other presentations, so.
Yeah, unfortunately, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. If not, I'll have to walk you through it.
Ron or Samantha?
63 and 64.
I think Yvonne or Samantha may have the presentation. They can do a screen share if you're having problems with it.
Yeah, if they could.
On presentation 2.
On presentation 1. No, you're going directly in. See that? Up there, go to
I see.
63.
Got it.
Do the other counselors have it pulled up on their laptop or page 63 on the presentation? Part 1, I guess that's what I opened up. Because we all have.
Certainly do, Raffle.
Did that come up?
It hasn't come up, Mr. Dominguez, but we got it all pulled up on our laptops. If you could just discuss that, what's on page 63 and 64, we can move on.
Okay, thank you. And again, I apologize for this wonderful technology we're having to deal with these days. Corridor number 5. Oh, shoot, I just lost it again. Oh, there it is. Somebody's bringing it up. Corridor number 5 that we looked at, or alternative number 5, is 4 12-foot driving lanes with no shoulders. Sidewalk, the new sidewalk on both sides, and new curb and gutter on both sides. And the difference between that alternate 5 and alternate 5B would be the alternate 5B would have the 4 12-foot driving lanes, and it would have 2 5-foot bicycle lanes on either side, new curb and gutter on both sides, and 5-foot sidewalks on both sides also. Both of those do acquire some potential right-of-way. We did have some right-of-way maps from the DOT. We have actually 3 different versions of it, and none of them quite matched up. So we didn't go to a full extent of trying to identify the right-of-way exactly where it's at. But it does appear that both of those alternatives, 5 and 5B, would need to require a little bit of right-of-way.
Alvin, can I interrupt for 1 second? What page was that again?
I had page 57. I think you already passed it on the.
Okay, let me do on my little slow. Okay.
I think that was it, right? That stop right there. That's alternate 5.
Okay.
As I was mentioning, this alternate right here is one of the ones that we added from the previous presentation, which is the 4 12-foot driving lanes, a median in the center, and curb and gutter on both sides, new sidewalk on both sides. We would have that median, that raised median throughout this corridor from Mescalero Trail all the way to just past Sutton. We are recommending a proposed new signal at Sutton Drive. That intersection, if you remember from the last study, it is failing, and it does warrant the signal now. So we would recommend a signal with both of these. That would help the congestion It would give gaps, especially for the traffic between Sutton and the New Mexico 48 US 70 intersection. Rod, if you can go back to the next one, the 5B. I think it's the other way. 5B is almost identical to 5, except this one recommends the 5-foot bicycle lanes on either side. We did have conversation with the New Mexico Department of Transportation. They recommend if we could, if feasible, to add bicycle lanes as part of the New Mexico bike plan, statewide bike plan. They are recommending bike lanes where feasible. So this alternate, as recommended by the NMDOT, is to add bike lanes. And we did receive some feedback from the village planner, I believe, about looking at bicycle lanes. And it is in the comprehensive plan for the village of Ruidoso also to look at different alternatives of mode of transportation for pedestrians and bicyclists for the corridor. So we are recommending 5B. This one also would require some additional right-of-way. Of course, all new storm drain system through here. And we would also recommend realigning the Mescalero Trails US 70 intersection. So that way it ends up, right now it's at a bad skew, and it would end up more at a 90-degree angle. And that way it would allow left-hand turning lanes if you're headed westbound on New Mexico 48 to turn into Mescalero Trails and to turn back, going back kind of eastbound off of Mescalero Trails. Right now it's extremely difficult to do that. So we would also recommend redesigning that intersection. We are working on some high-level estimates right now as we speak. For the intersection of US 70 New Mexico 48, if we were to go with the high T intersection, that high-level estimate's around $750,000 for a new realignment and new signal. New signal at Sutton Drive and New Mexico 48 is about $500,000. And the rest of the corridor, it includes storm drain. Of course, the widening of the roadway is between right now about $2.5 to $3 million. I know it sounds extremely expensive, which it is, but with all the additional storm drain and new driveways, there's 35 driveways through there. We would probably have to look at maybe combining some to try to reduce that to meet the statewide access management manual. But in a nutshell, that's where we're at right now with the feasibility study. We're in the final stages of the study, so we'd like to hear from the village and see if they have any additional input to where we're at right now. We will get those estimates in the appendices when we're done with the study. And I stand for questions, Mr. Mayor and councilors. And again, I apologize for the technical difficulties of showing the different alternatives.
Well, very good.
Mr. Dominguez, Gary Jackson, Counselor.
Yes, sir.
On the rendering that you have, you show Lincoln County Medical Center in one position. However, now that is just a landfill. And where it was moved to is almost bordering where you have the new proposed signal light, meaning that the east end of that area now is the new hospital, and that is where our emergency services are. And the west end is more administrative and hospital as well. And I think it's important to know that difference in this rendering. I was medical director at that hospital for many years, so I'm fairly familiar with the site. Our EMS is really on El Paso Road that would be adjacent to, but not clearly adjacent to, the new hospital.
Yes, Councilor Jackson, you're absolutely right. When we originally did this, that was in the construction phases. We will get that relabeled and get it correctly. Our goal is to make sure that the new hospital, the new medical complex, has a median opening where you can turn in and out as emergency services or anybody else comes in. You can come in and you can exit back out towards the west also. So we'll get that modified.
Thank you.
And thank you again, Mr. Dominguez. Thank you, Gary, for that input. But what I'm going to suggest, which this is a lengthy document, and there's a lot of numbers in there that need more definition, that as we approach the final design, that we have a public workshop with the council, so that as we review this more detail, I mean, we only had it for a couple of days, or I failed to not look on Friday night on it. However, to get more detail and information to Tim to get to Bohan Houston, so that any questions that come up from now and through the end of this year, they could be addressed and we could address all the issues during a workshop. I mean, that's just a suggestion because the next step is the final phase to complete this feasibility study. And what says you, the rest of the counselors?
Well, my concern is that these two drawings or renderings, it's blurry and it's hard to figure out exactly where things are, especially when I get down into 5B. It almost looks like some of those buildings are going to be right on the edge of the road. So I think something that's a little bit clearer. One of my concerns would be for the businesses along there. If we're going back in and we need additional right of way, you're taking away precious parking for them, and they're not going to want to give that up.
Of course.
There's not a lot of parking there anyways. But maybe just a clearer picture somehow. I mean, I've got mine blown up to 200%, and I still can't really tell some of the details on here.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Counselor. We'll make sure when we have the workshop that we will bring some renderings that shows a lot more clarity on that. And you're absolutely right. It's kind of hard to tell all of that. So it's a pretty busy photo. We try to show as much details as we can. But one of the things that we did discover with the right-of-way maps that we received from the New Mexico Department of Transportation, it does appear that there are some business encroachments into the right-of-way of the DOT, both buildings and some walls in there. So, once the project becomes fruition in the future, that would be definitely something that we'd have to look at a lot more closer. There's certain things that we could do, narrowing of the driving lanes and things like that to bring that in and get the actual typical section away from the structures themselves. But there does appear, just from what we've seen preliminarily from the NMDOT information that was provided to us, there are some encroachments into the right of way right now. So, but we'll give you a lot more clear picture when we have the counselor workshop.
Okay.
Other than that, right now, I would say I like this much better than what was presented last time.
I agree.
Because it was really squeezed down, and one lane, I think, in each direction was one of the proposals. So, I like this better, but at the workshop, then we can get more clarity on the specific details.
And that gets word out to, like what you said, some of the businesses, and knowing what's going on down there, that would give them more time to review it and have input as well, is what I believe all our concerns are and stuff like that. And one point for the record, I do want to point out that this project has nothing to do with the Midtown lane observation or survey and study that we did a few months back. These are two totally separate projects. There was misinformation given to some of the Midtown business owners, and right away thought we were doing backdoor stuff and things, and it's solely that is just what it's just misinformation, and nobody not paying attention to what truly the truth. I asked for the truth to what's going on, and if people just take a moment to call the mayor, call City Hall if somebody comes up and do this, to validate what is being said out in the public. I don't take kind to that for people just bluntly lying about issues that the Village of Ruidoso is doing. Each of these counselors and all the staffs work very hard to produce the best service to our citizens and all people. So there is a release given by our public information officer, Carrie Gladden, that really describes what took place. I won't read the whole thing, but once again, I just want to say that these two projects are totally separate, and the Midtown project is even dead in the water. So that's misinformation that went out previously.
And this press release references KRQE. I saw it either on channel the ABC or the NBC station last night. So it's on to more than just that one.
So they picked it up.
Yeah, I don't get KRQE right now because the Dish has that stupid dispute with them. So
Right.
give me a break, but it is getting out there, and it is like you said, it's just misunderstanding or somebody whatever. They were interviewing some people in Midtown. This has nothing at all to do with Midtown. This is definitely that wide. It's quite a bit of ways from it. So it's just a misunderstanding there.
And again, I mean, we've been transparent,
Yeah.
and Mayor Crawford has done an excellent job in producing public hearings, public workshops. Look at our comprehensive plan, the first ever that we had that many people attend the comprehensive plan back last year, or 2 years ago, I should say, almost year and a half, that the public was participating. And we keep striving to move forward with that direction, and will move forward in that direction. So as I mentioned to the councilors, and I think the mayor may be in agreement, we'll discuss it some more, but as that final preliminary study comes up, maybe schedule the workshop, and then that afternoon possibly have an action item to take place for this study.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, Council, I'd like to also add a disclaimer to this study. It's before somebody gets excited and sees a line next to a building. This is a feasibility study. It's not a design study, and it's mostly based on traffic volumes, traffic flows. So hopefully nobody will take the lines as something that's going to happen, and walls or buildings would be knocked down or stuff, because that's not the intent of the study. It's strictly a feasibility study on how we can improve the traffic flow for not only today but 20 years from now. That's our horizon build out. So hopefully that'll add to your disclaimer that this project also is not a design. It's more of a transportation traffic feasibility study to see how we could improve the traffic not only at the US 70 New Mexico 48 intersection, but also throughout the corridor up to Mescalero Trail. So with that, I stand for additional questions, and we look forward to the public workshop.
Thank you very much, Dominguez. Go ahead.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes, sir.
I would just like to ask Mr. Dominguez, that he pointed that out, because people will take this literal. People seem to go to the bottom line around here before we've had a chance to go into depth on what we're actually doing. But could you speak to the Horizon event, where you're looking 20 years into the future, and how you came up with that 2% estimate on increase in traffic, and that this study is not just traffic calming, but it's how to disperse and make that whole area there much safer?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. And you are correct. We did project, and we always do project out into the future. Our design year is typically 20 years, as it was in this project. It was a 20-year horizon. We came up with the percentage growth based on we did get with the economic person for the village of Ruidoso. When we got Lodgers tax information, we met with him and Ron and others to make sure that we had the best data information. We did count the traffic. Unfortunately, it was in your off-peak season. We did count, I believe it was 7 different intersections, and we did get also some historical data from the NMDOT, as they count all of their roads every year. So we had plenty of data. We did project that usually August, towards the end of August, early September was your high peak. So we designed based off of your high peak numbers is what's typically done. You want to get your worst case scenario for traffic. So we got those numbers, and we projected them out 20 years based on that growth factor, historic growth factor that we had used from village information that we obtained. So we feel extremely comfortable with all the data that we received and how to make our projections for the 20-year horizon. And that's how we came out with the different levels of service to make sure that the intersections would be functioning properly, and the corridor itself in the 20-year horizon. And I can provide a lot more detail when we have the public information. I can show you the charts and the levels of service and how we come up with those traffic numbers.
Thank you, Mr. Dominguez. With that being said, we'll end this presentation, and again, thank you, Mr. Dominguez, for presenting, and tell Mr. Thomas we missed him and appreciate all that he's doing.
Sure, we look forward to the next meetings with the counselor and with the public. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay, moving on our agenda. We have no boards and commission appointments at this time. And we'll move on to the manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. First I'm gonna have Cody, our fire chief, come up and do a presentation on our latest numbers of COVID. So, Chief Thetford.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Pro Tem, Councilors, Manager Dodge. Thank you. Last month, we talked about the resources and what's going on with COVID from the hospital and DOH. So we've got some numbers and stuff that we're going to hand out and some new information. To start off, talked with Todd Overview at LCMC, and these numbers are of yesterday before lunch. The ICU beds that we have licensed at LCMC, we have 6. 5 of those are occupied. And we have 13 med-surg beds, and 9 of those are occupied. Currently, the hospital has 6 COVID patients, 2 of those which are on a ventilator. Also, I'm sure you've noticed the tent that's outside. Everybody's been asking what it is. Those are COVID positive infusion services for the remdesivir and other medications. Individuals identified that need those services can go there. They're utilizing the tent for that. And they would also like to thank the Village of Ruidoso for supporting and assisting that and allowing them to use our facilities. So I wanted to make sure to say thank you. Spoke with Martha over at New Mexico DOH. Right now, the total cases in Lincoln County are 873 with 8 deaths. We have 316 recovered in Lincoln County. She also gave us some total test numbers over since we had the last update, November 16th through yesterday when she was done testing. They tested 936 there by City Hall. We broke down some numbers from our area. So Ruidoso has a total of 339 cases. Ruidoso Downs has 188. Alto has 94. Capitan 52. And the Hondo Valley from Glencoe to Hondo, 42. And then, of course, our neighbors over here on the reservation, they have 540 cases as of yesterday morning. Our average right now on our cases for Lincoln County and our map is still red. Unfortunately, we're at 21.10%. Martha also wanted to let everyone know, starting Thursday the 10th, and they're trying to get some information out hopefully tomorrow. They have the state of New Mexico has contracted with a third-party company called Curative, and there will be a new login and registration so they can get more testing and more help done. And it is going to be an oral swab, kind of like what we were doing over here by the fire station. And she's advising me that it's going to be about a 48-hour turnaround. So the backlogs and such, the lab is in California. But once they receive them, I guess they have a pretty fast turnaround to get them back to us, so we can be, she said, more efficient on the contact tracing and letting employers and everyone know what's going on with the positive patients.
So Cody, I have a question on that 48-hour turnaround. Is that from the time of the test or from the time the lab receives it?
They said it was from the time that they do the test. So if you do the test, it's supposed to go out that afternoon. And whenever it goes out at lunch, it's supposed to be there within 24 hours and then have results online where you register the next 24 hours.
Okay, that's so much better than right now having to wait a week sometimes for results.
Yes, sir. And then, of course, the site over here by the pole, by the fire station, that the village helped facilitate is closed and complete. And that test site completed 829 tests during those couple of 10 or 11 days. Also, some other numbers that they are ramping up with our calls between ambulance, fire, and PD. This month alone, we ran about 130 calls. 96 of those were medical. We had 19 COVID patient contacts and 10 possible that were under investigation, which right now somewhere between 20 and 23% of all of our calls here through the FD are with COVID positive or COVID symptom patients. After talking to Todd, our numbers are not better or worse. They're about the same through the holidays. So there again, we're just asking everybody to stay separated, stay safe, and keep cleaning everything and wear our masks, and hopefully we can get through this after the new year. And that's all I have if anyone has any questions.
Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes.
Chief, before we get any questions on this subject, Samantha has had additional contact with Martha today as of this morning. So I think there's some updated information. If you can provide that to us, Samantha.
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem Salas. My conversation with Martha was that they are requesting everybody go to curative.com. We are working on a press release to help them get that information out on our social media channels as well as the village website. In addition to that, she's expecting the National Guard to help them facilitate these tests because it doesn't require a registered nurse to administer the test. It should free up Martha and Laura to be able to vaccinate people for COVID-19. So that's the intent, to allow the nurses to do the other duties. So with that, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, they'll start administering the test, it sounds like.
That's good information. Thank you, Samantha.
And I would like to encourage people that, especially now that you're not going to get something shoved up your nose, that it's just you do it yourself is what it sounds like, and it's a swab of the inside of your mouth. Go get tested, even if you don't feel bad, even if you don't think you have symptoms, because the positivity rate is simply a mathematical calculation. The more people that take the test and come up negative, the lower our positivity rate goes. And that helps us, that's one of the factors that helps us move from red into yellow and possibly green later on. So just, and if they can increase their capacity and they can reduce the time that it takes to get your results back, just get signed up and go get it. I know one of our state representatives from Sierra County is I don't know if she's joking or not, but she's recommending people go get tested every week. The more often you get tested, the lower those rates come down. So please, folks, go get tested. Sometimes you might be asymptomatic. You don't even know about it, and it'll lessen the spread. And if you're saying, I don't have it, well, then great. Go get tested and be a negative. That's the one time being negative is positive. So make sure you get tested.
Thank you, Councilor Coughlin. Good advice.
Mayor Pro Tem, councilors, moving on. Next, I'm going to ask Judy to give an explanation. I think many of you have seen the finance report, and
Yes.
Due to last year September 3-year look back payment that we received, there's some discrepancies, and not discrepancies, but some information that could be misleading. So she's going to give a brief discussion on the finance report.
Mayor Pro Tem Salas, councilors, as Village Manager Dodge was saying, we have to remember that when we're comparing on the monthly report and we're looking at the current fiscal year and comparing it to the last fiscal year 2020, you got to keep in mind that we did receive that New Mexico tax and rev payback, which amounted to approximately $2,046,312. That is actually in the fiscal 2019 figures. And therefore, when you're looking at 20 compared to 21, it looks like we're really down, but you got to remember that prior year had that payback, which is kind of skewing the figures a little bit. But when you actually take that amount out, we are actually only down, I believe it was 4 or 5% down in GRT. I am, because that's kind of a hard concept to keep in mind, I am putting out another report along with the monthly report that shows that payback taken out so that you can have a direct comparison comparing apples to apples. So that will be going out sometime later this week, and it will be a companion to all the monthly reports going forward, so that when you see that first key items on the monthly report, it won't look like we're so far down. Again, that callback was, or that payback was received in September of 2019. So going forward, you'll see a more true comparison, which will help us really gauge where we are this year. So if you have any other questions, I'll take those questions right now. If not, just be prepared to receive a supplement in addition to the monthly report.
Judy, in addition to what you're saying, even the comparison for this year compared to last year, you know, months after the 3-year payback, we still tracked because of that one individual payer that was now recognized within our hold harmless. That came out right to about 17% increase. So, you know, comparing numbers that didn't include that, even moving forward skews that. So we need to be careful on how we read that document. So when we say that we're, you know, 4 to 5% down from last year, that last year still includes that 17% increase that we received as a result of that new payer. So a fair comparison is when we start to look at the historic numbers. And as if you all recall, we built our budget off of the 2018 numbers or 19 numbers. 19. And then we backed out 40% on the revenue side. And you know, that was basically back in April and March. And that's how we developed the budget. So when I just don't want to be misleading when we say we're 4 or 5% down, or we look at that report and it shows that we're down, you know, 40% in some categories, because that information is skewed by the payback.
There will also be a little footnote on that key items page that's in the monthly report that will kind of reference back to this situation in September of 2019, and hopefully direct you straight to the GRT report, which actually has that as a footnote. And it actually not only gives you what we figured the distribution amount was, but actually the impact to total gross receipts. Again, tax and rev doesn't give you the exact amount, so that is our best guess estimate of what it was, as far as what we could tell based on historical data.
Thank you, Judy. Thank you, Tim.
You're welcome.
Mayor Pro Tem, councilors, Mayor, on that issue, is there any questions?
No.
No, from ours.
Mayor Pro Tem, councilors, as we continue to move forward, we look at, you know, the possibility of different events. We're getting ready to go into Christmas. So, you know, Rodney's group and I have been meeting and discussing a couple of opportunities for Christmas. And we're wanting to always make sure that we take into consideration COVID safe practices. But at this time, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Rodney to talk a little bit about what we have planned, you know, moving forward into Christmas. So Rodney.
Good afternoon, Mayor and councilors. So, as you all may or may not be aware, the Wingfield Park display has been set up for a walkthrough event, and so people can go at their own leisure and walk through the park. If and when health orders change and would allow some sort of a modified Christmas in the park event, parks staff will implement that. The initial plan for that walkthrough Christmas in the Park event would include some sort of opportunity for a photograph with Santa Claus positioned in a manner that would be follow COVID safe practices. That's a program that we can put together fairly quickly, and we'll keep monitoring the health orders and try to implement that as it allows. We are also working with the Toys for Tots and Santa's Helpers to aid in their distribution of their normal annual offerings to the county residents. So they will be positioned, both the Santa's Helpers and Toys for Tots will be positioned at the convention center on the 18th and 19th of December in a drive-through format to distribute toys and meals and items that they normally pass out. There's a schedule, I don't have it offhand. It'll be during the evening hours on Friday and during the morning hours on Saturday. They will utilize the previously planned drive-through method that was planned for the Festival of Light Parade. On top of that, park staff is working on a laser show and a static drive-through display for Saturday, December 19th. We have some decorations that we would position in the same area where we hosted the haunted Halloween drive-through. We can register cars in the same fashion that we operated the haunted Halloween drive-through, and allow the people to drive through the display and to, at the end, to park at the White Mountain Complex and to enjoy a laser show that we have worked out with a vendor. We'll continue to promote the walkthrough event at Wingfield Park, as well as we have put together an opportunity for homeowners in Ruidoso to join a home decorating contest. We're currently taking those registrations, so there's no cost to register. You just send your address and your name. But we'll work with the Village of Ruidoso Tourism Department to put together an interactive map to put on their visitor widget, so visitors and locals can tour these homes. We're working with the Parks and Rec Commission to be the judges, and along with that interactive map, people can submit their people's choice for that home decorating as well. We've worked together with, partnered with P&M to provide the awards for that program. And I think that about covers it. I'll stand for any questions that you all may have.
Thank you, Rodney. Any questions for Rodney?
The park looks beautiful, Rodney. Y'all did a great job.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Rodney. Mayor Pro Tem, Mayor, Councilors, you know, moving into this month, we're doing the final evaluation of all employees for the 4 evaluations for the year. You know, Ron and I will start with the directors, which should be completed this week. The directors will then do the managers, supervisors, and then the supervisors, the employees. And that, you know, that will ensure that all of our employees would have received 4 evaluations this year, quarterly evaluations, and that should complete it. As we move forward into January and February, we're going to be requesting that we go into a strategic planning meeting, similar to what we did last year, look at the goals and objectives by department, and then start that whole cycle, that whole process all over again as it works into the improvement plans departments, and then works into each individual's work plan within their office or their particular function. We are requesting a special meeting at the end of this month. I believe it's the 22nd, 21st.
22nd is what I agreed to.
Okay, 22nd. And you know, the public hearing items on this have been moved to that date. In addition to that, we are going to have the court lease agreement to present. That's one of the main items that we want to make sure that we get processed prior to the end of the year. We need to have that document, the lease agreement for the magistrate court, finalized so that we can proceed to closing on the financing of that building. With that, Mayor Pro Temp, if there's any questions on the manager's report, I'll stand for questions.
Tim, on that meeting, special meeting on the 22nd, will we be meeting at the convention center?
Mayor Pro Temp, the convention center is up operational. Rodney's going to do the first test of it with the cemetery board. So I believe, yes, we can. Irma, is it okay to publish and move that meeting?
Mayor Pro Tem, members of the governing body, Mr. Dodge, it could take place there, of course. I think Jeff and Ron were just trying to finalize the arrangements for the recording portion of it, if I'm not mistaken. So that's all in the works, and it could very well be scheduled there.
Well, I definitely want to have the meeting there so the full council could attend and we could have more discussion and better IT stuff to communicate to the community. So if at all possible, let's try to have it there, or well, let's have it there. That's what I'm going to say right now.
Okay.
So.
Mayor Pro Temp, it just sounds like minor details. We'll get those worked out. So we'll follow the direction. We'll make it happen. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I do have a question in my motion. When I was making the motion to approve the agenda, I said to postpone the following agenda items to January 12th.
Right.
Is
that going to be a big thing? Because we're going to do it on the 22nd.
I apologize, Mayor Pro Temp. Counselor, if that was your motion, we're fine with that. And I think I just got mistaken. We did talk about moving it to the special meeting, and then yesterday, you are correct. We talked about just go ahead and move it to the regular meeting. So I apologize. My mistake.
I just wanted to make sure that we didn't need to do something else. Okay.
Any other questions for Manager Dodge?
Thanks for your report, Tim. It's always a good one.
Thank you.
And
all the directors and Yvonne, Ron, everybody puts into that report. So it's just not mine. It's the whole village that contributes to that. So I want to thank everybody for, their cooperation in putting that report together.
Thank you.
A lot of great information.
Moving on to the reports of the municipal officials. And this time I get to call out the name. So I'm going to start with Mayor Crawford. What's your granddaughter's name?
Her name is Claire, and but her nickname is Sizzle. That's what her brother called her. So we're very happy to have her, and so that was a wonderful time that we got to spend with them. And a 5-year-old grandson can wear you smooth out. So we learned to take a nap when we could, and most of the time we couldn't. He doesn't take naps anymore. But anyway, I wanted to tell you thank you for standing in for my duties and at the Christmas tree lighting. I thought that was a beautiful presentation. It's on YouTube, and I know that our PIO placed it on the social media. So you did a great job, and I appreciate everything that you've done. And I appreciate the fact that we've pointed out the misinformation that was going on in Midtown yesterday. I can't help but think for some reason it seems malicious by a couple of people there. because it's obvious that it wasn't in Midtown. But I appreciate the fact that we were able to maybe get that message out there. And but anyway, we're looking forward to a good Christmas season. Really looking forward to getting some of the things done later on in this council meeting. We've got a lot of opportunity. There's some silver linings in this COVID, and just to remind people to, be neighborly. Remember what's important in your life, your family, your friends, your neighbors, and this gives us an opportunity to slow down and look at that. And yes, it's easy to get lethargic, and thank God for good speed internet up here at the house where I can watch all my favorite shows. And we're looking forward to snow. And I love it when I get calls from the Midtown businesses on how appreciative they are of the sidewalks being cleaned off. Yes. And the guys do such a good job with the new equipment and the schedule that they've done on snow removal. So I'm very proud of everybody at the village, and I'm excited. I don't know if you guys are, but I am, of how we're able to promote people from within the ranks of the village employees to move them into other good key positions, and it opens up other avenues into the employment of the village, because I think we have a great opportunity here to be, just not just a village that we help the community, but, to be a good example in leadership and how we execute and things of that nature. And I'm proud of our accomplishments that we've had. Another big thank you to Tim and Ron and the senior administration there that has got out the grants.
Yes.
A lot of businesses are very appreciative of that. Those $20,000, a lot of them are $20,000. A lot of hard work that our staff put into that, and that checks are actually getting in their hands. So we're excited about that. And I know a bunch of the businesses are very appreciative of that. Another round of things that are going on right now that we've led them. It's direct with the state and the federal government. So, there's a little opportunity out there and for our businesses. And so we're really keeping our eye on that. We're still in contact. I'm on the mayor's council meeting all the time. The information is, the governor doesn't really speak to us anymore. The caucus, the mayor's caucus meeting, I can tell you, mayors from all over this good state are very frustrated. They don't feel like that we're being talked to, that we're being listened to, and just that we're being preached at. And so we're still trying to come up with solutions, and I welcome it from the community at all times. I get a lot of phone calls, and I just hope that people would remember what authority a mayor has. Okay. And so I like explaining that, and we're doing the best that we can. And we were looking to get open for Christmas. And, just like Councilor Coughlin said, we've got to wonder how, it seems like smoke and mirrors and manipulation of numbers. And I guess whatever we got to do to get to yellow and eventually green. But be safe. We are staying in constant contact with the hospital and the state. I appreciate all of our staff. Joe Kasabowski and Chief Thetford put the information out so that we can stay up to date. And if any time the public, they call, it's so nice that you folks are so informed that you're able to give folks the good answer to the questions that they have. So that's all I've got. Mayor Pro Tem, again, thank you so much for filling in for me. And it's good to see you there. And I look forward to next month, when we have the next meeting at the convention center, that we're all together, because it does make a difference. It sure does.
It does. Thank you, Mayor. And I have to be honest, feel a little nervous with the boss watching over the shoulder or watching me here and how I perform. I keep saying, waiting for the text from you saying that you got a D- right now or something like that. So
no, you're doing really good, and you've even, I thought I was going to have to give you a pointer on how to roll in Coughlin, because once he gets out of the gate, he's hard to rein in. Really good job, and so I'm proud of you.
Thank you. We'll move on to Councilor John Cornelius.
Well, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. There's still, in all this mess, there's a lot going on. Karen and Courtney and group are doing a great job trying to get all the stuff together on the sewer project. We got one of the Fonzie's issued. SAK's back cleaning sewer. I'm sure you all have been inconvenienced with a detour or two, but that's just going to be the way it is for a while. But they're having to re-clean the sewer lines and then get them lined as they go. I think the cold weather has slowed them down a little bit, but they're still on schedule. And then we had a meeting this morning where it'll be coming to council, hopefully next month, where we're going to have to make some decisions on the lift stations and the hazard mitigation. But hopefully we can keep this project going and eventually get it done. But that's all I've got. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. How about Councilor Joe Eby?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Well, if I could, I'd just take everything that the mayor said, copy and paste it, because he pretty much covered everything. And so did John there with the projects that are moving forward. I've been a little bit out of the loop there as far as keeping abreast of everything. But one thing, good thing is that we can be confident that the village will keep humming along, because there's all kinds of great people that are in place that will that do their job effectively, and you know, they show up to work every day and they're willing to do it. So thanks for all of the village staff and for keeping the village humming along there. Other than that, Rifle did look pretty good out there with the Christmas tree lighting and all that there. So it was a good event, and David took a great video of it there and posted it. So that was very enjoyable. So I just wanted to say again, congratulations to all those that are retiring, and welcome aboard all the new hires, and congratulations to those who have been promoted up. You got promoted up because you showed a dedication to work, and that you got the wherewithal to work, and also the brain power. So congratulations in your advancement, and congratulations in being hired by the village. And we look forward to working and seeing you all for several years in the future. So if I don't see you all again before Christmas, you all have a Merry Christmas. I guess I'll see you on the 22nd, though. Yes, all righty. That's all I have, Mayor Pro Tem. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Eby. And now I'll call on Councilor Jackson.
Oh, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Salas. I think this time of year, we always look back and look forward, and maybe it is a time for a little more positive outlook. New Mexico has been targeted as one of 4 states to receive early delivery on the COVID vaccination. I can't go into any more detail than that, but only to say it's no longer an if, it's now a when. And that means a lot to our first time and always first responders, be they fire or if they're our police, our first-time responders with EMS, and also the hospital, all the way from housekeeping all the way up to the providers. Once again, I want to really encourage everyone to get a flu vaccine if they haven't had one. It's never too late. It will hold you through June. You will not, in the first quarter of the year, if those vaccinations become available, they're not going to have you taking them back to back with the flu immunization. It's too much of a hit on the immune system. So keep that in mind. And it's just another way to keep safe. I'm encouraged by people who wear masks. I'm discouraged by those who don't. I think there's a big feeling out there of individuality, which is fine until it becomes mine and the harm goes to someone else. So I ask people to at least keep that in mind. That's all I have. And I wish everyone a Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Councilor Jackson. And now moving into the council chambers, I'll call on Councilor Letterman.
Well, you know, actually, the mayor and councilors Cornelius, Jackson, and Eby, they've pretty much said it all. I have done a little bit of Christmas shopping downtown last week, and it was wonderful to see the people, most of the people having masks on. Rid Also Safe was out. It was pretty cold, and they were out waving and being good stewards of the village of Rid Also, and I certainly appreciate that. There was a sign downtown, Della Madrid, Apache Trading, and she had a huge sign in the window that pretty much says it all. I'll wear a mask to protect you, and I'd appreciate it if you'd wear a mask to protect me. And so, actually, I've felt really good about our village. I see more and more people with their masks on, and so hopefully we're going to get in the yellow and the green, and here we go. I look forward to 2021, and I think that this year has been a good year for reflection, to slow down, smell the roses, and I look forward to 2021. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Letterman. Now, Councilor Coughlin.
Well, it seems like nowadays you got to really watch what you say, because no matter what you say, somebody's going to twist it or take something out of context. So with that being said, I don't care. I'm going to say what I'm going to say. We've been, a lot of people have been struggling in this village to earn a living and to keep their doors open. And it's been really hard. And I appreciate all the efforts that they've been going through, and the struggles and what they're going through. However, although it's not perfect, we were recently allowed, thank goodness,
yes,
to bring up our small businesses to operate on par with the big box stores, and it only makes sense. What's the difference about whether you've got 25% of 100 capacity or 25% of 1,000 capacity? It's still 25%. I firmly believe that our small businesses can be safe. Unfortunately, not all of them are following COVID safe practices, and I wish more of them would. But it's those struggles that we go through, and those decisions that are being made by people that are affecting others. Over the last couple of weeks, I have struggled with COVID, not personally, but having to shut down a building because I've got people that are possibly exposed, and to prevent that. And when that happens, it's not me, but there's other people that are being affected by this. People that are being sent home because they've been possibly exposed. They're not going to get paid. And so many people are living paycheck to paycheck, and we need to think about other people. And I'm glad that the village, seems to be coming around to that effect. Let's stop the bitching and complaining, and let's start just doing what we need to do and get it to the yellow, and then eventually to the green. I've also gotten a few phone calls, Mayor, that people are telling me, boy, the mayor doesn't like you, does he? He's always picking on you. I will tell, and like I've told them, and I'm going to tell everybody, he just loves me so much. We kid around, even on private phone calls. We give each other, a little bit of grief and a little bit of fun. And I appreciate all the council members and everybody here at Village Hall for being able to be that way and not to be so serious all the time. There's a time to be serious, and there's a time to relax, because after all, we're all human beings, and we're all struggling. We're all dealing with some difficult decisions. So Mayor, I'm glad you're there, because I can have Jeffrey reach over and mute you when I need to. But I look forward to seeing you, and I'm glad to hear that Crawford is still alive. And and anytime you want to come work with kids and get some practice, let me know.
I will do that. I want to let people know that I do love you like the preacher loves the Lord. So just fun and games. And so I just want everybody to know that, but we appreciate what you do.
That's it.
Thank you, Counselor. And again, pretty much everything was said from the other counselors on the events. And thank you, Mayor, for giving me the privilege to flip the light switch for many years. I just stood by the mayors as they've done that throughout the introduction of the holiday season, the Christmas season. And I'll go back to my first days. We used to decorate the tree at the Y.
Yes.
And that's where we would have the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts come over and participate in lighting of the tree. So that's how far back we go. And I believe it was in 93 when we moved to Schoolhouse Park. And I think Rodney was my only helper at that time. And we started decorating from there. And I do want to commend Rodney on an excellent job of decorating our parks, and all his staff, of course. T-Bone and Jeremy, they work out there really early and going good, and it was an honor to flip that switch. And being the bad Catholic that I am, I did get the calls that, where are the nativity scene? Where is the nativity scene? And lo and behold, I text T-Bone, and he said it should be up within the garden tomorrow, possibly. Give him a couple of days maybe, but that will come up. So once again, Mayor, thank you for, and I appreciate you adhering to the 14-day quarantine. I was trying to convince him that he could be here because CDC says 7 days is all you need. But he's and I told him, the governor doesn't know what she's talking about. We got CDC backing, but he reminded me that's just recommended. But anyway, that's where I appreciate filling in for you, Mayor. Other than that, I think that's all I have, and we'll move on to the next item, which would have been the public hearings. Oh, I forgot something. Did I have for public input?
No.
Do we have that? I didn't see that on there, so I guess not.
Yeah, it's on there.
Oh,
Mayor Pro Tem, if I
okay.
may, just for the record, state that there were no requests for public inputs, like you're fine.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. I'm sorry I missed that on the agenda. Thank you. So yes, we postponed all our public hearings to next month. Moving on to regular item number 1, appointment of Ronald L. Senna as interim village clerk effective January 1st, 2020. 21. I'm sorry, I'm still 2020. Manager Dodge, are you going to start this off for us, or?
Mayor Pro Tem, Mayor, the appointments are a prerogative of the mayor. This was an interim appointment. My recommendation to allow us some time to evaluate that and make a recommendation on how to move forward. I recommend that we appoint Ron as interim village clerk.
Okay, and once again, Irma, I'm deeply sad but happy that you'll be moving on. But again, you'll enjoy it all the way, and you have done dedicated service all these years here. So once again, and I do see the importance of having an interim village clerk as we go moving forward and getting that so we could keep our operations going and posting of meetings and things like that. With that being said, I would like to make a motion to appoint Ronald L. Serna as the interim village clerk effective January 1st, 2021.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. May I have a roll call?
Yes, sir. Mayor Pro Tem Salas.
Aye.
Councilor Letterman.
Aye.
Councilor Coughlin.
Aye.
Councilor Jackson.
Aye.
Councilor Cornelius.
Aye.
Councilor Edie.
Aye.
Thank you very much, everyone, and good luck, Ron.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I just had a question. Does this give him 2 corner offices?
I don't know about that, but.
Mayor Pro Tem Salas, Mayor Crawford, and council, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
That's what you say now.
Yeah.
Is he by himself?
Yeah, he's by himself.
And yes, I will have 2 corner offices.
Moving on to item number 2, discussion and possible action on grant agreement, number FE, well, letters, FEMA, 1783 DRNM, amendment extension A20 with the New Mexico Department of Homeland Security and Emergency Management, New Mexico Department of Homeland Security, and I forget what the EM stands for, Emergency Management. Extending the performance period of PW 94 closed road bridge to October 31st, 2020, and PW 155 sanitary sewer system repair rehabilitation project to June 28, 2021. Was that a misprint on the agenda to say October 31st, 2020?
Mayor Pro Tem, councilors.
Yes, Karen.
Mayor Pro Tem, that is not a mistake. We just barely got that extension request and approval. So we have since then put in for an extension through March, another quarter, to get the Gabion basket failure taken care of.
Okay.
So that'll be brought back to you as soon as we get that.
We'll get that in April.
Yeah, it might be May or June. It goes there, but.
Well, thank goodness we got an extension on this emergency.
With that, before you is the extension request. And that I wanted to kind of go over the dates and the amounts that is on this actual agreement. This agreement has to come before the governing body every year as we have exceeded the 10-year timeframe for Region 6 to be able to approve time extensions. So they have to be done on an annual basis, and they have to be taken to Washington, D.C. to get done. So it's a delayed process, but nonetheless, we have a approval for the sewer line through 2021 now. With the attachment reflects a dollar amount that might be confusing, so I wanted to go over that with you. The total award that it references, that $45 million, that $45 million covers the entire disaster, the entire what we call 1783 disaster. We are the last agency that has any activity in that disaster from Hurricane Sandy. So with that, you'll see a listing of the large projects on that extension, and most of those are the active bridges and the sewer line project, excuse me. But it also includes PWs, which are project worksheets that have been closed already from the disaster. So I just wanted to clarify that that they're $45 million. As it indicates on the agenda memo for the sewer line, we have received the $31 million. That is $31,347,702.01. We have received that already, and that consists of the federal share and also the state share. They still owe on that a little bit. They still have a balance, but that's the monies that we've received thus far. So with that, I just wanted to explain a little bit about what the extension consists of. So I will stand for any questions.
Are there any questions for Karen on this extension request? So Karen, the only question I have, out of the total award, how much of that amount did we already expend, got reimbursed and expend? Because I knew at the beginning of the flood, we were spending money left and right.
Right. With that, again, you'll see that there's like the first 1, 2, 3, 4 PWs, and the last 2 PWs. Those are all project worksheets that were issued for either the emergency repairs, 30% design, and then small PWs that were issued back in 2008 and 9, that very small project worksheets. Those have been closed. Now, when you reference what has been expended thus far for the sewer line and for the bridges, I can give you that.
Yeah, if you don't mind, what would?
Yeah, no, we have, Judy she keeps a really good spreadsheet, and it tells us to date what we've spent on each project worksheet. So and I can give you as of June 2020, we've expended $2.3 million on Close Road Bridge. We've spent $4,400 for River Trail. We've expended $5,900 for North Loop Bridge, $5,778 for Main Road 2 Bridge, $4,931 for McDaniel, $8,909 for Robin Road, $8,553 for Sleepy Hollow, and then we've expended $2,458,000 for the sewer line, which is totals altogether $4.8 million. Now, the bridge expenses that we've incurred, a lot of that has to do with reporting. We have quarterly reports, and we did start some of the EA work. If you recall back when Z Engineering had started the EA work, the environmental assessment work for those bridges. So that's what those expenses are consisting of. And I just want to remind people that the Close Road Bridge is a large project, so the expenses that we incur, as long as they remain eligible, they'll be reimbursable. So as for all the other bridges, the exception is the sewer line, of course, because we are funded through the SERA, the Sandy Recovery Act, which we just took a lump sum.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there any other questions for Karen? With that, I'll entertain a motion. Somebody, please.
I move that we accept the grant agreement number FEMA 1783 DR New Mexico Amendment Extension A20 with the New Mexico Department of Homeland Security and Emergency Management, extending the performance period of PW 94 Close Road Bridge to October 31st, 2020, and PW 155 Sanitary Sewer System Repair Rehabilitation Project to June 28, 2021.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. May I have a roll call, Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir. Councilor Letterman?
Aye.
Councilor Coughlin?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Salas?
Aye.
Councilor Jackson?
Aye.
Councilor Cornelius?
Aye.
Councilor Eby?
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on to regular item number 3, discussion and possible action on community development block grant program, grant agreement project number 20 CNR 101G03 with the State of New Mexico Department of Finance and Administration Local Government Division for design, bid, and construction of water, sewer collection system, drainage, and roadway improvements in the Town and Country subdivision of Ruidoso, New Mexico. Yay, finally.
Well, it's not started yet.
Well, at least we're moving forward. Is that you, Ron, or Tim?
Samantha?
Samantha?
Yes, counselors, this grant agreement is, it looks pretty comprehensive. We reviewed it. I'll stand for any questions that you all may have after we, fully execute it. Then we're pretty, well prepared to go out for invitation for bid to bring on a contractor. We'll just have some administrative paperwork that needs to take place with, the local government division.
Mayor Pro Temp Samantha, can you go over the timeline, please?
Yes, thank you.
Mayor Pro Temp, it's on page 17.
Just a minute.
I just want to point out that, right now we're pretty much ahead of it, and this is a very conservative timeline. We've been allowed, quite a bit of additional time, and I anticipate that we're going to be able to complete this a lot faster, but go ahead, Samantha.
A lot of these resolutions have been done prior to being awarded the funding, so we're well prepared, like Manager Dodge said, to go ahead and our notice for professional services, the design work has already been completed. We're at 100% for that. So we're just needing the local government. They've already given approval on it, but just officially after the grant has been executed. So our next step will be to publish and award a contract to bring on the contractor. And just like it states there in our milestones, the pre-construction conference, we have marked April, but we had to be conservative with that, as he stated. So as soon as we get our paperwork turned in and our project manager gives us the green light to move forward, we'll be able to proceed, and we should be able to move a lot quicker than what this schedule shows. They just didn't want to set us up for failure in case there's any delay on their end.
Great, that's good.
So by next year,
Yeah,
this time.
constructions, what they got on their timeline is in May, but that might possibly be sooner.
Yeah.
Mayor Pro Temp,
Yes,
just to give an explanation, right now the bid documents are pretty much ready to go. It's just requiring a review by local government division. And, once that's complete, I'm anticipating we could probably get that completed sooner. Then that allows us to go ahead and publish and get the bid moving on that. So, I think we're on a much more aggressive schedule than what's depicted in here. I'm hoping we can actually, get into construction late March, early April, as opposed to what this schedule shows.
okay, that would be great.
Get it done and apply for the next one.
Exactly. Any other questions for Samantha or Tim? With that, I'd entertain a motion. Number 3.
I move to approve community development block grant grant agreement project number 20-C-NR-101G03 with the State of New Mexico Department of Finance and Administration Local Government Division for design, bid, and construction of water sewer collection system, drainage, and roadway improvements in the Town and Country subdivision of Ruidoso, New Mexico.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Could I have a roll call vote?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Councilor Kaufman,
Aye.
Councilor Cornelius,
Aye.
Councilor Letterman,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Salas,
Aye.
Councilor Eby,
Aye.
Councilor Jackson.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. Moving on to item number 4, discussion and possible action on purchase of a 2020 Dodge service truck for the solid waste department in the amount of $155,624.37, including gross receipt tax, through Cooperative Education Services, CES, agreement with Malloy Dodge. I believe that's Jerry if he's up there.
That's correct, Mayor.
Yes, good morning, or afternoon, I guess now.
Oh,
This has been a part of my strategic plan for quite some time. We had planned 160,000 for this, and we did come in below that. I like to say this department maintains services and provides shop and field repair for a fleet of 42 plus light and heavy specialized trucks, equipment, including semis, front end loaders, backhoes, fixed. A lot of our equipment is fixed transfer station equipment. And this department travels almost 80 miles with outside the village, almost 80 miles to the landfill. We have had quite a few problems needing to trucks not unloading and stuff like that, tarps not opening up. Out there, we have had to borrow a crane. This truck will have a crane, and waste a whole day out there just trying to get a tarp up because the hydraulic cylinder failed. But anyhow, I guess I will stand for any questions if anybody has any.
Jerry, this is Tim. I've got a question here.
Sir.
There's two different attachments. One says truck body, and then there's the other one, which is from Malloy. And the difference on the Malloy one, if you go all the way down just about to the bottom where it says service body, compressor, crane, etc., that price is about $1,100 more than the one on truck body. Is that because of Malloy's profit on that, or what's the difference between those?
We added a strobe light on the bottom there. On the paper I got, I could email that to you, but
okay.
We added another light on the back of that.
Okay, because I see strobes on the Malloy and a spotlight on the Malloy, but I'm just looking at the one that says service body, compressor, crane, etc. is $97,844, but the truck body quote from Construction Truck Equipment is $96,636.
Yeah, 636.42.
Yeah. So
but that's what it is, sir. I added another light on the back of that, a strobe.
So it's not the strobe for $825 on the Malloy quote?
No, that's my trucks. My truck. We're getting the truck itself will have strobes as well as the body.
Okay.
On the
Okay, I understand now. So the quote from Construction Truck Equipment is actually going to be higher because you've added a couple more things on there that weren't on that quote.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
any other questions for Jerry? I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, in the interest of health, safety, and efficiency, I move to approve purchase of a 2020 Dodge service truck for the Solid Waste Department in the amount of $155,624.37, including GRT, through Cooperative Educational Services agreement with Malloy Dodge.
Second.
Second.
Roll call vote, Ms. Devine.
Yes, sir. Councilor Jackson,
Yay.
Mayor Pro Tem Salas,
Aye.
Councilor Letterman,
Aye.
Councilor Edie,
Aye.
Councilor Cornelius,
Aye.
Councilor Coughlin.
Aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Mayor Pro Tem, I just want to tell Irma, congratulations. It's been good knowing you all these many, many, many years. And I just wish you all the best.
Thank you, Jerry. I appreciate your kind words.
Thank you all.
Moving on to item number 5. Discussion and possible action on Village of Ruidoso's participation letter for the hazard mitigation planning sub-grant application.
Sure, Mayor Pro Tem Salas, Mayor Crawford and Council, this is Joe Kajabowski, Emergency Manager. This is going to be a lengthy process. The Department of Homeland Security has opened up the application process for the Building Resilient Infrastructure Community Grant, which will give us the funding to review and update our current hazardous mitigation plan that was approved in 2018 and is due for an update in 2023. The schedule, just a quick overview on the schedule. The application has to be completed by the end of December of this year. FEMA is going to do the selecting of funding in June of 2021. FEMA will award the states. It looks like it's estimating in December 2021, and then we'll get the funding for the village to start this process of reviewing and updating our application, our hazardous mitigation plan in January of 2022. So it's a lengthy process, but it starts with these letters. This letter, participation letter, is saying that the Village of Ruidoso is going to be participating in this whole process for the Lincoln County Multi-Jurisdictional Hazardous Mitigation Plan.
Great. And the mayor will be back in the office to sign this letter, because I feel weird signing that and having his name scratched out and putting my name as Mayor Pro Tem. So, any other discussion for Joe? With that being said, I'll entertain a motion.
Jackson, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I move to approve Village of Ruidoso's participation letter for the hazard mitigation planning sub-grant application.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, Ms. Devine.
Yes, sir. Councilor Jackson,
Aye.
Councilor Coughlin,
Aye.
Councilor Cornelius,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Salas,
Aye.
Councilor Letterman,
Aye.
Councilor Eby.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Item number 6, discussion and possible action. Oh, I just did that. Item number 7, discussion and possible, no?
No, you're on
No,
6.
it's.
I am
We did 5, we're on 6.
Oh, okay, now it's 5. Discussion and possible action on Village of Ruidoso designation of signature authority letter for the hazardous mitigation planning sub-grant application. And I apologize, I was looking at that letter here going, so.
So Mayor Pro Tem Salas, Mayor Crawford, and councilors, this is just another letter. There's 3 letters that we're going to be covering here. This is the second letter. This is authorizing Manager Dodge and Finance Director Judy Starkovich to be authorized representative of the village for financial commitment of the village with the mayor's authorization.
Cut and dry, right?
Yes, sir.
Get him to sign it. Any other questions for Joe? I'll entertain a motion for item number 6.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I move to approve the Village of Ruidoso's delegation of signature authority letter for the hazard mitigation planning sub-grant application.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. May we have a roll call, Ms. Devine?
Yes, sir. Councilor Jackson,
Aye.
Councilor Letterman,
Aye.
Councilor Eby,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Salas,
Aye.
Councilor Cornelius,
Aye.
Councilor Coughlin.
Aye.
Great. Item number 7, discussion and possible action on Village of Ruidoso non-federal funds commitment letter for the hazard mitigation planning sub-grant application.
Mayor Pro Tem Salas, Mayor Crawford, councilors, this is the third and final letter that we have to discuss today. This is showing that the village will be budgeting $4,750, which is 6.79% of the project planning matching portion of the grant We're asking for a $70,000 grant with $17,500 as the matching portion of that. This portion, the 17.5, will be split between Lincoln County, the village of Ruidoso, the city of Ruidoso Downs, the village of Carrizozo, village of Capitan, and Corona. And this will be our portion, and that's what we're asking you to do, is approve this portion for the village of Ruidoso.
Great, great. Any other questions for Joe? That being said, let's entertain a motion or a motion I need.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I move to approve the Village of Ruidoso's non-federal funds commitment letter for the Hazard Mitigation Planning Subgrant application.
Second.
Second.
There we go. Roll call, Ms. Devine.
Yes, sir. Counselor Jackson,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Salas,
Aye.
Counselor Letterman,
Aye.
Counselor Evie,
Aye.
Counselor Coughlin,
Aye.
Counselor Cornelius.
Aye.
Item number 8, discussion and possible action on the non-emergency total trihalomethanes maximum contaminant levels violation at the Ruidoso water system. And I believe that's Mr. Boyda or Randy.
Actually, I'm going to start off. Good afternoon, Mayor Pro Tem, Mayor, Councilors. I'm Randy Kane. I'm Water Production Manager. What we're going to be speaking on today is the non-emergency total trihalomethanes maximum contaminant level violation at the Ruidoso water system. Okay, I'm going to explain a little bit about disinfection byproducts. Disinfection of the drinking water is one of the major public health advances in the 20th century to control microbial pathogens. Disinfection can react with naturally occurring materials in the water to form the byproducts. The two that are what happens is the total trihalomethanes and the haloacetic acid. The acronym is TTHM and HAA5. We use those quite a bit, but I wanted to make sure everybody knew what they meant. Prolonged or exposure to high concentrations could lead to cancer or reproductive and developmental health risk. This is if it's over a long period of time, seeing, for example, if we had high concentrations with TTHMs, then people could have risk, but this is real short term, so it's not a real big deal. But that's an important piece to this presentation. The Safe Drinking Water Act was updated to balance risk between microbial pathogens and disinfection byproducts. I wanted to explain about sampling design for disinfection byproducts. We have 4 locations, and the locations were determined by utilizing the initial distribution system evaluation, or otherwise known as IDSE. It's based on CFR 1410.600. Basically was a collaborated effort between the village of Ruidoso and the New Mexico Environmental Department. And this pretty much occurred in 2006. The important part of this is the sites were selected based on the representative locations. And the 4 locations are at 657 Suttereth, 1605 Suttereth, 2820 Suttereth, and 900 Carrizo Canyon Road. And the samples are taken quarterly, January, April, July, and October. They are taken in the first month of the quarter for the 4 NMED approved sites, and then submitted to Hall Environmental Analysis in Albuquerque for testing.
Randy, let me ask you a quick question while you were back on the location sites. Are those confirmed sites that they're permanent, that we will always take testing there, or does the environment department designate those?
No, right now they are going to be permanent, and I guess we can change the site, but it's a process, you know. But if we have to, we could change the sites. But right now they're going to be permanent, and we're going to just take them from those 4 locations.
Okay, I don't have a problem on that, but since 2006, we've expanded our water production and stuff, and I was just wondering if yeah, never mind. Thank you. Continue.
Okay. Just going to explain a little bit about the violation at 657 Suttereth Drive. Ruidoso Water System exceeded the locational running annual average, which is the acronym LRAA, maximum contaminant level for trihalomethanes. And it was located at 657 Suttereth Drive. And the sample was pulled on April the 21st, 2020. Just to let you know, the MCL is 80. And then the number we sampled was 880, which is quite a bit, I mean, a lot higher. And trihalomethanes, you know, the MCL is 80. They are chemical compounds in which 3 of the 4 hydrogen atoms of methane, which is CH4, are replaced by halogen atoms. And the MCL is basically the legal threshold limit on the amount of a substance that is allowed in a public water system under the Safe Water Drinking Act. And if you can see on, go back real quick. These are the locations on the left, and I have the sample date, which is April 21st. And then the results are 880, and then 17.1, 26.7, 43.2. So out of the 4 samples, all of the other samples came back great. It's just that one isolated sample. Okay, the village conclusions on the cause of the violation. Big thing is the business was closed due to the governor's administrative order for COVID-19. That was the big one, because the building was shut down on March 28th. And I don't know the exact date, but it's either May, at the end of May, or the beginning of June. Because I know they stayed closed for a little bit longer. But that's the critical piece right there. Mm-hmm. And the other thing is the discovery of the internal filtration and treatment system. We were told that there were no filtration system for years. But then when we did an investigation, we did find one. And the other thing is the insufficient flush time, because based on the treatment system, there's a lot of volume, a lot of gallons. And that's the reason why we had stagnant water in the building. It was not thoroughly evacuated due to the filtration and treatment system, which contains, like I said, a lot of water.
So Randy, this is Susan. Can I ask a question real quick?
Sure, Susan.
So it was only at that one place.
Correct.
Okay, so were any houses, I mean, like for drinking water, I know that's a business, but were any of the village people that had houses, were they in possible trouble with drinking the water at that time?
Oh, no. And we put together a report that had a lot of data, a lot of graphs, and we can prove that the water was only contained in the building at 657 Suttereth. It did not go into the system. Okay. And, we took meter readings before and after, and and we put a lot of data together that proved that it didn't get into the system. So no houses were affected at all. It was basically contained in that one building.
But yet, I received a letter yesterday that stated that possibly we had problems, and it said non-hazardous, but when you get a letter that says that your water could, and they even had the whatever that is, the trihalomethanes.
Methane, correct.
Well, and I know we have to do those things. I know we have to send letters out. I don't understand. Did we get a letter right then, or why is the letter coming now in December, and that happened in April, and it didn't even happen to me? It happened, nobody was in trouble with that, just that business. So why did we have to send out a letter to everybody, and now everybody's all upset?
Well, the thing is, when we took the sample, in April, we have to send it to Hall Environmental, and it goes to Hall, and I think it took us probably, I want to say 4 to 6 weeks to get the results back. And once we got the results back, we did a repeat sample at the same location, one upstream, one downstream. And so once we got those results back, and in the meantime, I was in communication with NMED. So I kept them in the loop, was working hand in hand with them to try to get this solved where we weren't going to get a violation. And that's kind of where the process took a long time. But so we went back and forth, and then we got our new samples back, and then they had to put the letter together, and it took them, normally they have 90 days, but it took them forever to put the letter together. And then what I did is Eric and I put together a letter with Gary Goss also, and we put the letter together spelling out everything and really showing why we shouldn't have a violation. And we submitted that data plus the report that had a ton of pages and a wealth of information. And then we even did a meeting with Joe Martinez, which is the bureau chief, and Tanya Lucero, which is the second in charge. We had that meeting on the 23rd. And then based on the results from that meeting, we had to send out a letter within, we had to do the violation letters within 30 days of the actual violation letter. That's why it took so long. But we were trying to fight this and trying to get it beat, but they're kind of sticklers on formalities and regulations.
Thanks, Randy. I appreciate it.
Okay. Any other questions on that?
Randy, could you just explain how the process happened? About the storage tank and whatever. People still don't understand, how you took the sample, but it doesn't affect anybody else.
Mayor Crawford, if I could just interject, Randy and I put together a lot of you guys' questions in this PowerPoint. So if you let us kind of go through this, I think we'll answer a lot of your guys' questions, and we can answer things when we're done with this.
Okay, giddy up.
Okay, let me see. Okay, a repeat. Okay, the village response to the high sample. Repeat sample was taken at 657 Suttereth, and then one upstream and downstream from this location. What I would like to stress is that we did this on our own. They didn't tell us to do it. We did it in good faith to prove that we did not have a system-wide problem. And then we also, like Eric was saying, we completed and submitted an operational evaluation report, which is a comprehensive analysis of the distribution and water production. It had a wealth of information and a lot of data inside that report. And it basically showed that we didn't have a deficiency or an issue, in our system, that it was only isolated to that one building. Plus, we also monitored chlorine levels at plant 3 and 4 and in the distribution system. We also posted the EPA guidance on maintaining facility startup on the Village of Ruidoso's website. That we did on our own also. And then we relocated the sampling point, in before the system, or before the system inside the building. So that really will help also in the long run. Okay, next slide. This is the results that we took from the resampling. And we did the resampling on May 25th. So, or May 29th, I'm sorry. We took it at the same location, 657 Suttereth. The result came back 45.1. So that's a big difference from 880. And then we took one upstream, which at 725 Suttereth, which came out to 23.0 milligrams per liter. And then we took one downstream at 647 Suttereth, and the results was 26.4. So that basically showed that, we didn't have an issue in the system because all our numbers came back good. And I just wanted to kind of show a chart, trends at that location. And it starts from second quarter of 2018. And then the next column is the results. So if you go down, you see 63, and then 0, 45, 38, 36, 54, 59, 47, and then 880. That's the big one. And then afterwards, in the third and fourth quarter, was 47 and 60. So you can tell that that number is way out of bounds, and it doesn't fit in with the pattern of all the numbers. And then right next to it shows the OEL, and that's the operation evaluation level. And the numbers are good until we hit the second quarter of 2020, which put it over the MCL of 80, which was 466. Third quarter is gonna be 255, so we're gonna exceed it for the next 4 quarters. And actually, we'll come back into compliance on the second quarter of 2021. And then it just shows the LRAA, the locational running annual average, and the MCL on that is also 80. So you can see in the second, third, fourth quarter, we exceeded it. Next column says MCL violation, so we are exceeding. So, okay, next slide. Why is there a violation if the site is currently under maximum contaminant level? Well, it's based on the locational running annual average, LRAA, and it is the average of all compliance samples taken over the past 4 quarters, which is 12 months at that sampling location. And we'll get one more violation because basically it will occur in the next quarter, but it will take 4 quarters to bring that high number below the MCL of 80. And if you see below, it says quarter 2 plus quarter 3 plus quarter 4 plus quarter 1. You add those up, divide it by 4, and that equals your LRAA. And then this graph just basically shows the distribution system demands, and we did it for the last 3 years, 2020, 19, and 18. The yellow represents upstream usage. The light blue is the downstream usage, and the darker blue is the Cherokee Interconnect, which is downstream. So it kind of shows that we still had flow throughout the system and demand.
Wait. And so Randy's done a kind of a good job of summarizing what happened. And to maybe answer your question a little bit more thoroughly, Councilor Letterman, the reason why it's taken so long for this response to get out is because, like Randy said, the trihalomethane is requires an extensive multi-year exposure to start having complications. So if there's an immediate threat to people's health, we would issue a boil notice or take other corrective actions, and we'd notify customers within 24 hours. So there's no reason to do that for this violation. You'll only start having those complications over an extended period of time. Although if people do have compromised immune systems, have an infant or pregnant, they should talk to their healthcare provider. But again, as long as there's water moving through a customer system, there shouldn't have been this buildup of trihalomethanes. And so we have listed a series of things that people should do if they do have closures due to COVID or anything else to get their water system back into back to safe drinking water standards. So the first step is to actually have a documented plumbing schematic. So if you have a plan set from when a building was built, that can be helpful to keep around so you know how the water flows through your building. If you don't happen to have that, it's good to at least have a schematic so you kind of know where pipes go, and so that your staff know that there's a filter here, or this is where the hot water ties in. And then before turning the water back on, to make sure to inspect the plumbing, to make sure there's nothing that's been frozen or broken or corroded. And then it's important for facilities to do any special maintenance they need on their filters or water softeners. A lot of these filters are not meant to just have water sitting in there for several months or several weeks. You want to make sure that your water heater has heated up above 140 degrees Fahrenheit to make sure to eliminate any type of organisms that have developed in the water heater. And then to perform a flush on the building. And it's actually better for a closed business to have, you might want a manager or somebody to pop in there every 3 to 4 days and turn on all the faucets, flush the toilets, just to make sure that there is water moving through the system. And so the best way to flush your system is knowing the schematic. How does the water flow through your system? What we want to do is flush the sinks that are the closest to your service connection. So when we do that, we're gonna flush the water out of that first section of line, have good clean water in it. Then when you move to the next further away sink, that cleaner water is closer to that point, so you don't have to flush as far. So you'll flush cold and hot water at all points, and then you'll run the hot water until it reaches that maximum temperature, which would typically be 120 degrees once it's gone through the pipes. And then it's important to make sure that you consider other components of your system. So if you have an ice machine, you'll definitely want to throw away all the ice that was left in the machine, sanitize it, and then let the ice machine make its next round of ice and dispose of that after you flush the system. So Randy and I have released this information on Facebook and the village website for people to access. And it's just important for us to make sure that we maintain our facilities when there's closures. But Randy's demonstrated that there wasn't any issues in the drinking water system. We had continued use in our storage tanks. This is really a customer side issue, and it likely could have had exceedances if there was more sample points in people's facilities, but it wasn't caused by our system. So as long as you had continued usage in your household, there shouldn't be any complications. And so with that, if anyone has any questions, Randy and I would be happy to answer them.
Any questions?
Not a question, but I would say that I can imagine this being quite common during these mandated closures. One of the difficulties I know is you recommended going in and maintaining the facilities during the closures, but yet I know from some businesses, they said state police told them you're closed, you can't even walk inside the door, so you can't do that. But I think this is excellent information, and I don't know how to get it out to the public, because we've got a lot of people that have second homes, and they only come up here maybe once a year or something like that, and they could be experiencing this type of issue in their home and not be aware of it. I've got a facility right now that's shut down, and the first thing I did is when we went to shut down in March, turned all the water heaters off. I'm going to save on my utilities. And now, when we go back to open that up, I got to flush that water for a good length of time to get all that water out. So, I don't think it's anything. I'm looking at the list of addresses, and I think that there's some potential for the future, because some of those businesses might be closed depending upon what happens. I know one of them, I believe in the long term, is looking at doing an extensive remodel or tear down and rebuild the place. But I think this is great information, and I think that it's not an issue in our system, like you said. It was an issue with stuff being bottled up and sitting there. So stagnant was the word that really jumped out to me. But this is something that I think that homeowners need to be aware of too. When they come to town, flush your lines out, flush your water heaters out, whatnot, before drinking that water, because there could possibly be an issue with it. So when I first saw this notice that came out, it's like, wow, that happened a long time ago. Nothing we can do about it now. And it's one of those things where it's formality. It's also transparency. But then as you guys did your presentation, now it's like, wow, this is really something to pay attention to. So thank you so much for that presentation.
And Mayor Pro Tem Salas, Councilor Coughlin, Randy and I have been working to change our sampling locations. So although we still have a sampling location at this address that had the violation, it's now closer to the service line connection. So it's actually the first spigot that is coming off of that service line. So now we don't have to worry about filters or anything in the system. We'll be able to flush that line out easily in 5 minutes, which is our standard protocol, and we shouldn't have a business complication like that. We're also evaluating our sites for all of our other constituents, with the exception of our lead samples, which requires a sample being taken from inside the facility.
Yeah, Eric and Randy, I appreciate all your hard work, and thank you for the presentation. It makes it a lot easier to follow and figure out what all happens. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
And one thing I would like to say is, if anybody would like clarification or would like me to answer any questions, they can defer the questions to me. I spoke to a lady this morning about it, and then I explained in great detail, and she was pretty appreciative of what I did for her. So I will help out with answering any questions with anybody. So
Thank you. There was some very negative publicity about this on Facebook today, so.
we kind of figured that might happen. I mean, we worked so hard in the last 7 years to get the system in good shape, and we avoided a lot of violations, and we really tried to get this one, eliminated, but it didn't work. But, we tried.
Thank you again, Randy and Eric, for all you do. Any other questions? With that being said, I would entertain a motion.
I think it's listed in there, Mayor Pro Tem, but I don't think it was meant to be at the workshop that was canceled, and it was just a discussion item.
Okay, so it was a discussion only, so in information. Thank you for clarification, Eric.
Okay, yeah, because it does say in here to approve, and I'm going, wait, we're approving a violation? That just seems kind of weird.
Okay, so it's more information, and again, thank you. And we do have a very good water system, and it's come a long ways. So we'll continue with that. Moving on to item 9, discussion and possible action on remodel of the new radio station building project located at 2811 Sutter Drive in the amount of $1,155,553.60, including gross receipt tax through cooperative educational services agreement with White Sands Construction, Inc. And Mr. Senna.
Mayor Pro Tem Salas, Mayor Crawford, members of the council. This here is another proposal that we received from White Sands Construction through the CES price agreement. This is a turnkey job for remodeling the existing building next to the Wingfield House. This will provide they'll build a bathroom, a broadcasting studio. There's a waiting area. We'll do a complete in the inside. Have some special glass that'll be installed. Also, it'll be 3 coats of stucco on the outside, and the garage door will be removed and replaced with an entrance door, eliminating the entrance door that's there now. So it's going to be a complete project, and we're looking forward to moving forward and moving the Mountain and the KRUI radio station there to the Midtown District. And I'll stand for any questions on this.
Thank you, Ron. Are there any questions from the council or mayor?
Yeah, Pro Tem, Ron, on that 155, is that right, or was that excluding tax?
Mayor Pro Tem Salas, Mayor Crawford, Councilor Cornelius, that is with gross receipts tax.
Yep.
Okay.
So I would defer to Councilor Cornelius. Is this encompassing enough to get the project done, or is there anything else that's not covered in there? I know you're in on all these construction things, and you've got that experience.
Yeah, we went through this several times, and I think this is a pretty complete project now.
Great.
Good.
Thank you, John.
So how are we, Manager Dodge, how are we doing with White Sands Construction? This would be the second project that we're going to award to them.
Mayor Pro Temp, Councilor Copeland. I'm having a little bit hard time hearing. I wasn't too sure who had asked.
Oh, sorry.
And you're in a little tiny picture from what I see over here. But we've actually had some good experience working with them. They are keeping on track on the project and communicating with us on a biweekly call there at Village Hall. So I think we have been doing very well with them. They did also work on our fire station projects.
So that's right.
And we had no problems with those as well.
Okay, as you know, I'm working with them on a project over in Roswell, and the same thing. They've been very professional and a great working relationship, and I just wanted to make sure that that's moving forward. The nice thing is that we can get these projects done through CES, speed things along a little bit, and so I just wanted to make sure the village is happy with their performance as well.
Yes, Counselor, they've been very responsive, and I'd give an example that at first some of their subcontractors were not wearing masks around the building. We addressed it with them, and they corrected it right away. We saw a difference immediately. So that's just the level of communication. They've been willing to work with us and accommodate us as we continue forward with our operations. So it's been good.
Great.
Well, then I would be willing to make a motion.
Great.
To move forward. So I move to approve the remodel of new radio station building project located at 2811 Sutter Drive in the amount of $155,553.60, including gross receipts tax, through Cooperative Education Services CES agreement with White Sands Construction, Inc.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. May we have a roll call vote, Ms. Devine?
Yes, sir. Counselor Coughlin,
Aye.
Counselor Letterman,
Aye.
Counselor Edie,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Salas,
Aye.
Counselor Cornelius,
Aye.
Counselor Jackson.
Aye.
Thank you all
Mayor Pro
very
Tem,
much.
Counselors.
Yes, good job, everyone. Now we're moving into our closed session. I'll entertain a motion to do so. Gary, that's you.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem Jackson, I move that we move into closed session for discussion of limited personnel matters citing 1015-1H2, New Mexico Statute Authority 1978. Item 2, discussion subject to the attorney-client privilege pertaining to threatened or pending litigation in which the Village of Ruidoso is or may become a participant, citing 1015-1H7 NMSA 1978. And item number 3, discussion of the purchase, acquisition, and or disposal of real property and or water rights by the Village of Ruidoso, citing 1015-1H6 NMSA 1978. Any action taken as a result of the closed session will be brought back into open session.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, and we have a roll call. Ms. Devine?
Yes, sir. Counselor Jackson,
Aye.
Counselor Edie,
Aye.
Counselor Letterman,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Salas,
Aye.
Counselor Cornelius,
Aye.
Counselor Coughlin.
Aye. Aye. Sorry.
We are now entering into closed session.
Mayor Pro
And
Tem,
yes,